Days of Our Lives spoilers. Rachel is questioned by Marlena. Jeremy advises Chad, while Stephanie and Alex plan. Days of Our Lives spoilers. A web of deceit and a glimmer of hope in Salem. In the ever-turbulent world of Salem, where secrets are currency and legacies are both a shield and a weapon, this week promises a seismic shift in the foundations of its most prominent families. The air is thick with the scent of old ghosts and new ambitions as a beloved doctor returns to her roots. A corporate titan receives dangerous counsel, and an unlikely pair dares to dream of a future built on shaky ground. The days of our lives are about to be irrevocably altered by the choices of a questioned child, an advised CEO, and two planners seeking a fragile happiness. The analyst and the heiress. Marlena forces a crack in the Black Fortress. The Dye Mansion, a Gothic structure that has borne witness to more sins than a confessional, is once again the epicenter of Salem's latest psychological thriller. The return of Rachel Black, the product of the intensely passionate and deeply destructive union between Brady Black and Kristen Dye Mara, has sent ripples of anxiety through the community. To most, she is a troubled young girl, the beneficiary of Stefano Dye Mara's vast fortune, and a pawn in a game she doesn't fully understand. But to one woman, Dr. Marlena Evans, she is a patient, a puzzle, and potentially the key to preventing another generation from being lost to the Dye Mara darkness. The spoiler that Rachel is to be questioned by Marlena is not a simple matter of a therapy session. This is a high-stakes interrogation cloaked in the gentle cadence of therapeutic dialogue. Marlena, having just returned to her practice, is diving into the deep end. She sits across from Rachel not just as a doctor, but as a pillar of the Horton legacy, a woman who has loved a Black and battled Dye Maras for decades. Her office, a sanctuary of rationality, becomes a battleground for Rachel's soul. Rachel is a fortress built by Kristen and funded by Stefano's legacy, a source close to the show hints. She's been taught that love is conditional, that power is absolute, and that the name Dye Mara places her above the moral codes of others. Marlena's goal is to find a crack in that fortress. The questioning is expected to be a masterclass in psychological tension. Marlena will gently probe Rachel's relationship with her mother, her understanding of her inheritance, and her recent manipulative behaviors. The audience will watch as Rachel, armed with the cunning of her mother and the arrogance of her grandfather, attempts to outmaneuver the good doctor. But Marlena has faced far worse than a precocious teenager. She will use her legendary empathy to lull Rachel into a false sense of security, only to ask the one devastating question that Rachel is unprepared to answer. This isn't just about diagnosing a problem, it's an intervention for an entire bloodline. The outcome of this session could determine whether Rachel becomes an heiress to Stefano's empire of fear, or if a sliver of light from the Horton side can finally penetrate the perpetual gloom of the Dye Mara dynasty. The serpent in the executive suite. Jeremy's whispered warnings to Chad. Meanwhile, at Dye Mara Enterprises, another battle for the soul of a legacy is underway, though the weapons here are corporate bylaws and hostile takeovers rather than therapeutic insights. Chad Dye Mara, forever torn between the honorable man John Black helped raise and the ruthless businessman his father groomed him to be, is facing pressure from all sides. The company is vulnerable, and vultures are circling. Enter Jeremy, a character whose reemergence is as calculated as a stock market play. Positioned as an advisor, a voice of reason in a chaotic boardroom, his counsel to Chad is anything but benign. Spoilers revealing that Jeremy advises Chad point towards a sinister manipulation in the making. Jeremy is the embodiment of the old guard's worst instincts, an insider suggests. He doesn't see Dye Mara Enterprises as a company to be nurtured. He sees it as a weapon to be wielded. He's appealing to Chad's insecurities, to the part of him that fears being seen as weak, as not enough of a Dye Mara. Jeremy's advice is expected to be a series of whispered provocations. He will likely counsel Chad to double down on aggression, to cut sentimental ties, to embrace the very darkness that Chad has spent years trying to escape. He will frame mercy as a liability and ruthlessness as a necessity. He might even suggest a preemptive strike against potential rivals, pulling Chad into a war he never wanted to fight. This creates a fascinating parallel narrative. While Marlena tries to pull a young Daimera heiress toward the light, Jeremy is actively trying to push a mature Daimera scion back into the shadows. Chad's internal conflict is the core of this storyline. Does he listen to the ghost of his father, channeled through Jeremy's self-serving advice? Or does he listen to the memory of his brother Stefan, who found redemption in love, or to his own heart, which beats for Abigail's legacy and his children's future? The advice Jeremy gives could set Chad on a path that either saves Daimera Enterprises or destroys the last vestiges of his own humanity. A new alliance. Stephanie and Alex plan for a future on their own terms, in stark contrast to the gothic intrigue of the Dye Mansion and the cutthroat corporate drama. A story of tentative hope is blossoming. The pairing of Stephanie Johnson and Alex Kyriakis has emerged as one of Salem's most surprising and compelling dynamics. They are not the products of a classic supercouple. They are two wounded individuals who found solace and understanding in one another when they least expected it. The spoiler that Stephanie and Alex are planning is a breath of fresh air. But in Salem, even the purest intentions are fraught with peril. What are they planning? A business venture? A life together? A simple dinner party? The beauty is in the ambiguity, but the significance is monumental. Stephanie and Alex represent a new generation trying to break free from the cyclical tragedies of their families. A show source notes. She's a Johnson, a legacy of integrity and hard work, but also of heartbreak. He's a Kyriakis, a name synonymous with power, crime, and tumultuous relationships. Together, they are trying to write a new playbook. Their planning sessions are likely a mix of pragmatic business discussions and deeply personal revelations. Perhaps they are mapping out the future of The Spectator, aiming to build a media empire untethered from the manipulations of Victor Kyriakis or Stefano Daimera. Or perhaps they are planning a home, a space that is entirely theirs, free from the ghosts of Titan or the ISA. Their connection is built on a foundation of mutual respect and a shared understanding of what it means to be a legacy in Salem. They see the baggage the other carries and choose to help carry it, rather than add to it. In a town where relationships are often born from passion and destroyed by secrets, theirs is being built slowly, carefully, and with conscious intent. However, this is Salem. Their plans exist in a vacuum that is about to be ruptured. The fallout from Marlena's session with Rachel could send shockwaves through the Daimera empire that impact Alex's business interests. The path Chad chooses, influenced by Jeremy, could directly threaten any independent venture they hope to launch. Their dream of a peaceful future is a delicate soap bubble floating directly towards a battlefield. The tapestry of tomorrow. This confluence of storylines, the psychological unraveling, the corporate corruption, and the romantic blueprint, is what makes Days of Our Lives enduring tapestry of American drama. This week isn't about isolated events. It's about the interconnectedness of fate in a small town. Marlena's success or failure with Rachel will shape the moral landscape of the next generation. Chad's decision to heed or reject Jeremy's advice will determine the economic and ethical direction of one of Salem's most powerful institutions. And the plans forged by Stephanie and Alex represent the eternal hope that the next generation can learn from the mistakes of the last, that they can build something new, something better. Yet, as any Salemite knows, the past is not a ghost. It is a living, breathing entity that forever stalks the present. As these characters move forward with their questions, their advice, and their plans, they do so under the long shadows cast by Stefano Daimera, Victor Kyriakis, and all the lovers and fighters who came before them. The only certainty is that the days ahead will be filled with the kind of drama, heartbreak, and unexpected hope that has kept us tuning in for generations.